A very good morning to all the esteemed professors and learned members of the IEEE, respected HODs, faculty members, and my fellow mates. I, Manya Srivastav of BTech Electronics and Communication Engineering, 5th semester, welcome you all to the 4th lecture of the Technical Lecture Series organized from September 18th to September 26th, 2021 by the IEEE student branch at Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow campus under the supervised guidance of Dr. Kamlesh Kumar Singh Sir, Assistant Professor and Student Branch Counselor of IEEE Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow campus, in collaboration with the IEEE Young Professional Committee, UP section, and IEEE PTKIT SBC's Dwarhat. This technical lecture series is being supported by IEEE Region 10 and IEEE Young Professionals Region 10. We also have with us Dr. Varun Kakkar Sir, Chair IEEE Young Professionals Committee, UP section. The lecture titled Application of Signal Processing in Electrical Machines Health Monitoring will be taken by Dr. Khadim Moin Siddiqui Sir, Associate Professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering, Sri Ram Swaroop Group of Professional Colleges, Lucknow.
Manya?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. A very good morning to all the esteemed professors and learned members. Dr. Khadim Moin Siddiqui Sir, Senior Member IEEE, Assistant Pro Vice Chancellor, Head of Institution, Amity School of Engineering and Technology, Wing Commander Dr. Arun Kumar Tiwari Sir, and all the respected HODs and faculty members and my fellow mates. On behalf of the IEEE student branch at Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow campus, I, Manya Srivastav of BTech ECE 5th semester, welcomes you all to the technical lecture series organized under the supervised guidance of Dr. Kamlesh Kumar Singh Sir, Assistant Professor and Student Branch Counselor of IEEE, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow campus, supported by IEEE Region 10 and IEEE Young Professionals Region 10. IEEE um, IEEE AUP Lucknow campus student branch, in collaboration with IEEE Young Professional Committee, UP section, and IEEE PGKIT SBC's Dwarhat, has organized a very insightful and beneficial technical lecture series supported by IEEE Region 10 and IEEE Young Professional Region 10 from September 18 to September 26, 2021. Today is the 4th lecture on application of signal processing in electrical machines health monitoring by Dr. Khadim Moin Siddiqui Sir. The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one that gets the people to go through the greatest things. Our Assistant Pro Vice Chancellor, Head of Institution of Amity School of Engineering and Technology, Wing Commander Dr. Anil Kumar Tiwari Sir, is a seasoned academician, a source of constant inspiration. He is not only a visionary, but a mentor whose zeal and quest to understand the length and breadth of the vast ocean of knowledge keeps us motivated. May I request, sir, to enlighten us with his words of wisdom and welcome the gathering.
Most respected, our guest speaker for today, Dr. Khadim Moin Siddiqui ji, Dr. Kamlesh ji, coordinator of the IEEE, my learned colleagues and dear students, a very good morning. and a very warm welcome to this today's guest lecture on a very important topic, that is signal processing involving electrical machines, which are inherent part of the healthcare industry. It's indeed our proud privilege, and I express my gratitude to our esteemed guest, Dr. Khadimji, who's taken out his valuable time on a Sunday morning and has decided to address all of us. We are indeed grateful to you, sir. And it's such an important topic that it's of interdisciplinary nature. It actually would be very interesting to not only our ECE, EEE students, but also to a number of computer science students who are working in the area of health systems, edge computing for health, and so many other related areas. Sir, let me tell you that Amity University, Lucknow campus, especially ASIT, has started off with a very interesting program that is honors specializations and minor degree program, which enables our ECE and EEE students to take on minor degree along with their BTech in computer science engineering, IT, artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things. Now, why I'm mentioning this? Because signal processing involves a lot of computer knowledge, and it also involves a lot of cutting edge technology. Towards this, learning the fundamentals of computer sciences, learning large scale applications of computer science are inherently very important. And as we increase the interdisciplinary approach between computer sciences and electrical engineering, electronics and communication engineering, the kind of research, the kind of problems which our students can handle, their scope widens tremendously. So we are looking towards a very interesting lecture from you. And my humble request is, sir, let this be the beginning of a very useful, interactive, purposeful session between Dr. Siddiqui and, of course, IEEE section, Lucknow campus, ASIT Lucknow campus. I once again place on record my extreme gratitude to you for having spared your time and talking to us. Looking forward to a great lecture from you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Wisdom is not a product of schooling, but of the lifelong attempt to acquire it. Dr. Khadim Moin Siddiqui, sir, is an IEEE senior member and has delivered expert lectures in the field of power electronics and drives, signal processing in many institutions. He received his BTech degree in Electronics Engineering from IET Lucknow and his MTech degree in Power Electronics and Drives with honors from MMM Engineering College, Gorakhpur. And he completed his PhD degree funded by Technical Education Quality Improvement Program Phase 2 from Institute of Engineering and Technology, Lucknow. He has published more than 40 research papers in international journals and 2 books in the field of electrical and technology. Currently, he is working as an associate professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering at Sri Ram Swaroop Group of Professional Colleges, Lucknow, and has a working experience of over 12 years. He is an advisor of IEEE student branch and advisor of IEEE PES. In his lecture today on application of signal processing in electrical machines health monitoring, Sir will be concentrating towards time domain, frequency domain, and time frequency domain techniques for induction motor fault diagnosis in transient as well as steady state conditions. May I now request Sir to please begin with his talk.
Okay, thank you, Manya. Thank you for the introduction. Manya, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So, first of all, I would like to thanks to Wing Commander Dr. Anil Kumar, Assistant Pro Vice Chancellor and Director AICT, Amity University, Lucknow, and my you can say Dr. Kamlesh Kumar Singh, also can say dear friend, or and all participants have joined here for listening this lecture. So it is a very delightful moment for me to give lecture in this very interesting topic. So you all participants, if you will concentrate here, then we can have a novel idea. We can start our research by using these ideas. So it is a very important topic of discussion here. So thank you all. Thank you IEEE UP section for giving me the award and for organizing this program, and also thanks to IEEE PT KIT student branch Dwara. So the title of this lecture is Application of Signal Processing in Electrical Machines Health Monitoring. So it is the outline of this presentation, introduction, and SCIM means squirrel cage induction motor component failures, health monitoring and its needs, process of health monitoring of broken rotor valve fault. So I will concentrate here only the broken rotor valve fault because of the limitation of time. But if anybody want to start research in this particular field, because it is a combination of electrical engineering as well as electronics engineering. So they can start their research on bearing fault, air gap eccentricity fault, stator winding type faults, and other rotor side faults. So I will discuss here three techniques: time domain analysis technique, frequency domain analysis technique, time frequency domain analysis, and it is related to wavelet transform, and finally conclusions. So here is the introduction. Since we know the squirrel cage induction motor is a widely used motor in industries, so we will concentrate here of the health monitoring of a squirrel cage induction motor, and also we know that the induction motor also we can say the workhorse of the industry. So almost 90% of industrial applications, squirrel cage induction motor is widely used. So it is a great area of the discussion of the health monitoring of this kind of induction motor. So we can see here induction motor faults. So mainly we have two types of faults: electrical faults and mechanical faults. So by using the signal processing techniques, we can diagnose electrical faults as well as mechanical faults. And electrical faults are further classified as stator faults, rotor faults, and the stator faults are classified as winding and external faults, and rotor faults broken bar and broken end ring faults. And about the mechanical faults, in the mechanical fault, eccentricity faults, bearing faults, and the load faults. So if anybody will do the literature review of this health monitoring application, so they will get a lot of research papers. Okay, so by using they have used different techniques, but in the current time, signal processing techniques and advanced signal processing techniques are widely used. So we will see here, and these are the squirrel cage induction motor component failures. So as per the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, since it is a largest professional body of the world, so they have given some data, and also the Electric Power Research Institute, they also have given some data. So as per the data of IEEE, so we can see here the bearing faults occurs 44%. Out of all the faults, bearing faults occur, and it has been observed in the industries and where this induction motor is used. So bearing fault induction motor is the most catastrophic fault, and the stator faults happens 26%, rotor faults happens 8%, and the other faults are happens 22%. But if the rotor faults happen, so it is the most catastrophic and it is the most dangerous, because rotor is rotating and our shaft is connected from that. So at that time, this fault may lead to the any other fault also, and it can shut down the whole industrial plant. So it is the most important. Rotor fault happens only 8%, but if it fails, so we cannot detect this kind of fault very easily. We can detect bearing fault, we can detect stator fault, we can detect other faults. But if rotor faults happen, so it is a very difficult to diagnose the faults, and it has been a very challenging situation for the in the industries. And data as per EPRI, we can see here as per EPRI data, Electric Power Research Institute, bearing faults occur 41%, stator faults occur 36%, rotor fault 9% and 40%. So these are some major electrical and mechanical faults, and these faults are happened in the electrical machine. So earlier, what was happened? Earlier in the past, what was happened? Actually, one induction motor is is installed in the industry, and if suppose any one of the fault occurred, so at that time whole industrial plant was shut down, and large revenue losses occurred. So as per the invention of signal processing techniques, so signal processing techniques presently is going to solve all these kind of problems. So signal processing technique is also the most important, and as per the IEEE Signal Processing Society, one particular society is there, and we can discuss all this kind of problems. So these are the SCI, SCIM component failures. So why health monitoring at its need? Actually, one question arises: why health monitoring and its needs? So suppose our motor is installed in the industry. So we need to protect that industrial plant to failure. If any component is going to failure, okay, so we can diagnose, and it will give alarm. Now this component is going to failure. Okay, so you can write it. So it is most important. So we can do continuous evaluation of the health monitoring of the equipment throughout its service. So it is called health monitoring, and the other name of health monitoring is called condition monitoring. Health means motor is operating in the healthy condition. Motor is operating in the healthy condition. If something disturbance is occurring there in the electrical side and mechanical side, okay, so the signal processing technique will give, advanced signal processing technique will give indication. Okay, so this fault is going to happen. Okay, you protect your industrial plant, otherwise you will face $1 million loss. So, and it is the most important to detect all the faults. Okay, so in the transient condition as well as in the steady state condition. So some signal processing techniques in the past used to diagnose electrical faults in the steady state condition, but with some limitations. Okay, so now the authors are diagnosing the induction motor fault in a transient condition. If and it is a very most important part of research. How one can diagnose the induction motor fault in a transient condition? Because if any motor we have operated, it must pass to transient to steady state. So if somebody is diagnosing the fault in the transient condition, so it is most appreciable. It might be the most appreciable research. So the health monitoring of the induction machine provides us continuous assessment of the electrical condition of electrical machines. And the last point we can see here, the health monitoring and fault diagnosis scheme allows the machine operator to have necessary spare parts before the machine is stripped down, thereby reducing outage times. Therefore, effective health monitoring of electrical machines can improve the reliability, safety, and productivity of the machine. So if we have selected a suitable health monitoring technique and we have diagnosed the fault in the effective way, then it means we have done a very good work for the industries. Now we can see health monitoring has great significance in the business environment also. Why? Because to reduce cost of maintenance. If our motor is going to failure, and if they have given alarm, this motor is going to failure, this part is going to failure, you just take care it. So we can reduce the cost of maintenance, and by using the health monitoring to predict the equipment failure and to improve equipment and component reliability and to optimize the equipment performance and to improve the accuracy in failure detection. So these are the some most important significance of the health monitoring of induction motor. This is a process of health monitoring that is the most important diagram I have made during my PhD. So we can see here in one diagram I'm showing you. Okay, these are motor faults. Okay, these are motor faults. These are bearing, a stator winding fault, rotor bar, eccentricity fault, and gear fault. Okay, and we have sensor signals: vibration, current, magnetic flux, voltage, torque, and noise. And earlier, before coming to the signal processing techniques, a lot of techniques has already been used, had already been used for the diagnosis of induction motor fault. Okay, they have used magnetic flux. They have diagnosed the magnetic flux by using the magnetic flux, by using the voltage, by using the torque, by using the noise, and also by using the vibration. But what happens? It requires costly sensors. It requires costly sensors, and if the sensors, the cost of the sensor is large, so our condition monitoring, health monitoring equipment will also be large. So we need to reduce cost also. We need to reduce cost, okay, and we need to increase efficiency. Okay, so for that, current monitoring technique is used, and that is widely called motor current signature analysis technique, because we can sense current easily. Because in the induction motor, current transformer will be there, and by using the current transformer, we very easily we can sense the current. So this motor current signature analysis is widely used with the signal processing techniques. So as per the signal processing, so by using these sensor signals, we sense the signal, and then we applied the signal processing technique. So they have applied for the root mean square value, Fourier transform, time frequency, wavelet transform, higher order statistics, Perks vector, and negative sequence. So I will not discuss here RMS, higher order statistics, Perks vector, and negative sequence. We can process signal by using these techniques also. But in this technique, we cannot diagnose the fault in the variable load conditions. Okay. If the load if the load is changing, these techniques these techniques cannot be differentiated from the condition, and they will not indicate at what time this load, this time this load, this time this load. So very difficult conditions that we have. So signal processing techniques has solved this kind of problem, and not the electrical engineering, also in the electronics engineering, also for the mechanical engineering, also for the civil engineering. Okay, so all kind of in engineering, the wavelet transform means improved wavelet transform is being used for the detection of all kind of faults. So these in terms of fault detection, we can make model-based fault detection. We can do trending, threshold, multi-dimension, neural network, fuzzy logic, expert system. Actually, these techniques have already been used. Actually, that is the literature survey. We have seen in the literature survey a lot of researchers use neural networks and fuzzy logic techniques, and they trying to diagnose the faults of the induction motor. But it was very difficult to diagnose in the variable load conditions. Okay, so if the signal is stationary, then they can diagnose the fault, and if signal is non-stationary, so it is very difficult to diagnose. Non-stationary means there are drift changes in the signal. So how they can differentiate? So how they can diagnose the fault? So this is the major problem we will see with some examples. One can diagnose the fault. Okay, so here fault detection and the expert knowledge. If expert knowledge, by using the expert knowledge, they can differentiate. Okay, so but it is difficult. So but by using the signal processing techniques, we no need to do anything. Only we need to have an accurate model, and with that model we can sense the stator current signal, and stator current signal is easily available. We can sense by using the current transformer, and we can apply through the signal processing technique. So it is most important. Now, why one person can think why we should use signal processing technique. Why time? Because the current transformer will send the time domain signal. if we'll see in the CRO or a spectrum analyzer, then we will see that is a time domain signal. So why FFT and why why time frequency analysis technique? Okay, so we do the feature extraction. Okay, in the time domain signal, if we want to observe frequency component, that cannot give that what time which frequency exists. So at what time which frequency exists, we cannot see there. So how can we say this fault is occurring? So it is a very difficult. So we need to do feature extraction. If we have time domain signal, and by using that time domain signal, we can extract the information, frequency information, as well as time frequency information. Okay, so we will do feature extraction. Feature extraction, which were feature extraction, which were hidden in the time domain signal, and one cannot see. Okay, suppose we are going to hospital. Okay, and hospital we can see they always like to diagnose the problem by using the frequency, analysis. Okay, because informations what we want to see are hidden in the time domain signal. So the most important part of the signal processing technique, that is the feature extraction. And we can see we have following characteristics and we have reliable features. We can see here inexpensive computation measurement. Simply we can measure. Understandable in physical terms. Mathematically properly definable. Insensitive to unnecessary variables. Uncorrelated with other domain features. Okay, if we are doing time domain analysis, if we are doing frequency domain analysis, and if we are doing time frequency domain analysis, so they are uncorrelated. So these are most important features of the health monitoring, and only what we must have the knowledge about the FFT, about the wavelet transform, so we can apply in the easy way. Now we can see feature extraction techniques. Okay, so if I'm saying here feature extraction techniques, so it means those are signal processing techniques. We can I can see here, we can see here I have mentioned signal processing techniques and written in the bracket feature extraction. Means if we are applying advanced signal processing techniques, then we will extract the required feature. We will select from the signal, we will extract the required features, then we will say okay, this fault is occurring. Okay, so here in the signal processing technique, one is time domain technique, other is frequency domain technique as the time frequency domain technique. Okay, so in the time domain technique, some researchers have diagnosed the fault time, synchronous average, filter based method, statistical formula parameters, theoretical techniques. But by using the time domain technique, it is very difficult to predict the fault. Okay, and is also the tedious process also. It is also the very tedious process. Okay, it is very difficult to diagnose. So these techniques, so some researchers have published some research papers by using time domain technique, but it was the input for other researchers. Okay, but they have guessed the idea we can do here, but these techniques were not used because of tedious process and lack of information. So some researchers have applied frequency domain technique. And in India, I will appreciate one research one research has conducted by NIT Kurukshetra. One faculty was there, one PhD scholar was there, Neelam Mahela. So, and Ratna Dayya was supervisor. So I had seen their thesis before starting my research. They have done the complete analysis of frequency domain, but they have started the motor by using the AC lines. Okay, so that is different. So they have applied here it is written DFT, but it must be FFT. So they have used fast Fourier transform. So we can do frequency domain analysis by discrete frequency transform and fast Fourier transform. So fast Fourier transform was extensively used for around 15 years for the diagnosis of fault, but with some certain limitations. And in time frequency domain, some authors use short time Fourier transform method and also wavelet transform technique. So the short-term Fourier transform techniques had some disadvantages, means resolution kind of problem, because in the short-term Fourier transform, the window size is same. The window size is same, so we cannot do a correct analysis. But the wavelet transform has variable window, so we can do analysis of the fault diagnosis by using the wavelet transform technique. But a lot of improvement are also done in the wavelet transform. Okay, so simply if you will see before 10 years, 15 years, one research paper was published by using the wavelet transform. But if we will use MATLAB, or if we are doing analysis by using the acquisition system by LabVIEW or MATLAB, you can see there are a lot of improved features are there in the wavelet transform. Therefore, it is the recent research topic also, and many researchers in India are doing this work. So we can see here a simple simulation model. If any undergraduate student and postgraduate student want to diagnose this kind of fault, so what he need to do? Just I want to show here one model for better understanding purpose. So it is very simple model. Okay, but how one can diagnose a fault? It is important. Now you can see here. Here we have used three-phase induction motor. Okay, so here the ratings or parameters may also be changed, but it is a simple model. So you can see here, we have DC. Okay, here we have DC. Here we are not going to operate this induction motor by using the AC mains, by using the three-phase AC mains. We have given DC supply. Okay, 400 volt. Then by using this IGBT inverter, we have converted DC to AC. Then we have started this induction motor. So here, what challenge we will face? Okay, so if you will start this inductor motor by using the direct AC supply, okay, so harmonics will be less by theoretically. And now here you are using inverter also. So if you are using inverter, so there might be some challenging problems. Here harmonics will be increased because of noise produced by the inverter. So it is a challenging situation, and we need to solve. We need to solve also, and it is a novel. It can be the novel topic because we are starting this induction motor by using the inverter. Okay, so anyway, so we can say this is the sum of means accurate model. Okay, so they have used some parameters, they have changed the parameters, and they have got the means less harmonics, because you can do harmonic analysis by using this power GUI block. If you in the MATLAB, if you will double click. Okay, actually today I'm going to lecture. If, I will have a chance for the workshop, then I will give. I will show you how we can do by using by how we can do this analysis by using the MATLAB. So here, if you will do double click here, then you can see the harmonics. What harmonics are present in the electromagnetic torque as well as in the current. And if you are applying here mechanical torque 15 Newton meters, so how much torque you approximately it will be here 15 Newton meter, because we require constant electromagnetic torque. Electromagnetic torque. So if you have made any model, and if you have, you can see here we have bus selector. Okay, so here we have selected 4 motor parameters: rotor current, stator current, rotor speed, electromagnetic torque. So our main aim is to diagnose the fault by using the stator current. Motor current current will be easily available to us. So it is the simulation model, and I think any undergraduate student, any postgraduate or any PhD student, if they will improve this model, okay, they will use the PI controller here, and they will give feedback, and any PhD scholar can improve this kind of this model. They can use field control method also. Okay, so it can be improved. Okay, so whatever I am discussing here, I have used here induction motor. One researcher can use here permanent magnet synchronous motor because it is the era of electrical vehicle. And if it is the era of electrical vehicle, then the permanent magnet synchronous motor is already being installed there. So there is also the chances of failure. They can diagnose the stator side fault. They can diagnose the demagnetization fault. Okay, because the rotor is the permanent magnet, and you can simply diagnose the demagnetization fault. So here you can use the PMSM fault, but it is a challenging task for you if you are using a PMSM fault, and your model must be working. Okay, so it can take some time, but if you are aware about the MATLAB, then you can do easily. And once you have made the model, then you can apply the fast Fourier transform and the Wavelet transform, because in the MATLAB they are available. Okay, so suppose we have sensed from here, we have a stator current, means it will give time domain signal, and here we are observing rotor current, stator current, rotor speed, and electromagnetic torque. Okay, so here I have used to workspace. Okay, because you know the memory of the MATLAB is the workspace. Memory of the MATLAB is the workspace. Okay, so if you will use this workspace, then you will call this signal from the command window, and from there you will get the time domain signal. Okay, so it is also having the significance. That's why I have shown here to workspace. Now see here, now you have made the simulation model. Now you want to do experimental analysis, and you can do like this. Okay, here we can see here. Here this is the block diagram of the setup. You can use here inverter, a squirrel cage induction motor, load torque, current transducer. By using the current transducer, you can sense the stator current. You can use here anti-aliasing filter for reducing the aliasing. Okay, and here you can use the AD converter because you require here digital signal and log to digital signal, and log to digital converter you require here digital. So here why I have used DSP based transformative techniques, because here we can say it is a time domain, it is a frequency domain, and is a time frequency domain technique. And you select the features, and after selecting the features, you can see here the desired results. Okay, so we can see we can make the setup by using this simulation model. Okay, so now we can see here these are the results. Okay, suppose healthy condition. Healthy means everything is going fine. Okay, everything is going fine, nothing disturbance, nothing happening. Okay, so these are the results of healthy condition of motor. Now we can see here in the healthy condition of motor, which is a transient time and it is a steady state. It is the rotor current, it is the stator current, it is the rotor speed, and it is the electromagnetic torque. Then you can see the results. Okay, if your model is correct, then you will get the correct results. Okay, you will get the encouraging results. Okay, so it is the healthy condition of the motor. Now we can see here, it is the results of 5 broken bar faulty condition. So now the topic is actually some researchers have diagnosed the fault of 1 broken bar, 2 broken bar, 3 broken bar, 4 broken bar, 5 broken bar. Okay, so now if you are here, we have considered for the 5 broken rotor valve fault. Okay, so now we can see here, if you will compare, this is time domain. Okay, this is time domain, and if you will compare these time domain signal from healthy condition, now you can see it has changed. Okay, it is different. Now everything is changed. Now you can see the rotor speed change, stator current, rotor current, electromagnetic torque. So one can say by using the non-invasive technique, by using the non-intrusive technique, we can diagnose the fault by using the time domain signal. But here there is no frequency component, there is no time frequency component. Okay, so if you will diagnose the fault for 3 broken bar, 2 broken bar, the signal will be look like this. Okay, signal will be look like this. So how one can differentiate? So I already told it is a tedious task. Okay, so here we have made one table. Okay, so this is a healthy condition, 1 broken bar, 3 broken bar, 5 broken bar, and it is a no load condition. Okay, and here we have considered only the maximum transient. Actually, see in the research, if you are undergraduate student or the MTech student, in the research, you need to have some novelty. Okay, you need to show some novelty, what you have done. Okay, everything has already been done, but what novelty you have find from the literature review. So here we have observed a maximum transient. So maximum transient rotor current, maximum transient stator current, rotary speed, and the electromagnetic torque. So we can see here as per the broken rotor ball for 1 broken bar, 3 broken bar, 5 broken bar, no load condition. You can see the electromagnetic torque and the parameters change. And if we have done on an analysis for by using the time domain analysis, if we are doing no load condition, half load condition, and the full load condition. So at that time, the maximum transient peak will vary like this. But if actually we have taken particular values here, but you can see how one can differentiate. If there is half load condition, if there is full load condition, and the electromagnetic torque is here in the half load condition 54.92, and in the full load condition, electromagnetic torque is 55.83. Okay, so if we will show you the if we will show you the half load condition and the full load condition waveforms, then you will say these are similar waveforms. Okay, so it is a tedious task. Okay, because you need to find out values one by one. It takes too much time. Okay, so here it is a combined response. Here it is a combined response in time domain for healthy and faulty motor. We can see here it is the healthy condition rotor current, stator current, and you can compare. We can compare both waveforms and you can see the difference because fault is occurring. Okay, so why now here we cannot say at what time with frequency exists. How we can do fundamental? How we can do frequency analysis? We can do the frequency analysis by using the fast Fourier transform. Okay, now simply we have this signal. We have this stator current signal. Okay, oh, sorry, this stator current signal. Okay, now we will apply this stator current signal by using the FFT. Okay, so now see here. Now see here. So if we are doing an fault analysis by using the frequency domain analysis technique, so it is the power spectral and the power spectral density analysis for stator current called motor current signature technique. Okay, so if we are using a stator current, then we can see as a motor current signature analysis technique. So power spectral density analysis. If we are doing fault analysis by using the first Fourier transform, we will observe power spectrum. Okay, power spectrum. So PSD for healthy condition of the motor, PSD for faulty condition of the motor, and in the faulty condition, we will see the result for half load, full load, and no load condition. Okay, so now we have applied that signal in the fast Fourier transform. If you will go in the MATLAB, there will be FFT block and there will be a spectrum analyzer. Okay, so you can apply your that signal as a stator current signal. Okay, so a spectrum analyzer may show like this result. So it is the healthy condition. So see here, it is your fundamental frequency 50 hertz. It is your 50 hertz frequency. Okay, it is your 50 hertz frequency. So if rotor broken bar fault is occur, so at that time here I have not mentioned the equation. That will be FR is equal to 1 plus minus 2S F. Okay, frequency, and it is slip dependent because it is the induction motor. So here, since it is the healthy condition, so now you can see here side lobes are not visible. Side lobes are not visible. But this technique is used. The main limitation of this technique, the load cannot be changed. Okay, load cannot be changed. And second limitation is your signal must be stationary. Okay, and third is you can by using this technique you can do analysis for a steady state condition. Okay, so it is the power spectrum of healthy condition. So if fault will occur at that time, side lobes will be visible here. But you can see here, so we can differentiate. One can differentiate healthy condition to faulty condition. Now we can see here, it is the power spectrum density analysis for half load condition of the motor. Half load condition of the motor. So now you can see here, if you have changed your load, okay, if you have changed your load, means you have changed your load half load condition, but for the steady state condition, okay, and you have for the steady state analysis, stationary signal analysis, it is the half load condition. Now you can see here, it is the healthy condition. Now you can see here, okay, for the 5 broken rotor valve fault, it is the 46 hertz, is the 54 hertz. So if you will apply that equation, Fr is equal to 1 plus minus 2s Fb, and 2s F, if you will apply the frequency 50 hertz and your slip, then you will get these frequency. So you can see here, from this frequency, this is amplitude, from this frequency, this is amplitude. And if for the, and this is 5 broken, and it is the 1 broken bar for half load condition. So you can see in each condition the side lobe is being increased. Here in the 1 broken bar condition, the side lobe is this one, and the magnitude is this one. Okay, but if yeah, if broken bar, if 5 broken bar, then you can see here a little change in this amplitude is happening. Okay, and for 12 broken bar, you can see here the side box is increased. So for the constant load steady state condition, this method is suitable. Okay, we can do frequency analysis by using this one. Now you see here, and for the full load condition, okay, for the full load condition of the motor, so we can see here, if you will apply for the full load condition, so you can get for 1 broken bar this one, for 5 broken bar this one, and for 12 broken bar this one. But the main limitation is this one of this one. The main limitation is this one. Okay, the main limitation is this one, because if our motor is operating under no load condition, okay, so under no load condition, here everything will be same. So if one condition happened, no load condition, under no load condition, how we can diagnose the fault? We cannot diagnose the fault if happened. Okay, we can see here. So this kind of problem can also be addressed by the wavelet transform technique. So some limitations are there, and the main limitation is here, the steady state constant load condition. Okay, we cannot diagnose the fault in the transient condition by using this method. Okay, so actually I already told you some methods, some improvement is there in the wavelet transform. So here we have used the discrete wavelet transform technique. I'm not going to discuss here. Continuous wavelet transform technique. Okay, so the DWT is means I have seen when I have reviewed some research papers in the image processing as well as signal processing. Then I have seen a lot of electronics and communication as well as computer science engineering students are using this transform with the advanced features. Okay, so the discrete wavelet transform is ideal for large number of applications such as denoising, compressing signals and images, and electrical signal analysis also. Okay, so the base signal in DWT is set to. Okay, in DWT the base signal will be set to. So the base scale, okay, base scale will be 2 to the power j, where j is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and the translation you can obtain by 2 to the power jn. If you aware about the wavelet transform, then you can understand about the base scale and this one and translation. Okay, because these are the most important features. Translation means so these are the important features of the discrete wavelet transform. So discrete wavelet transform computes signal like this. If you are applying your time domain signal, so it will compute like this. Okay, so this process is often referred as Dirac scaling and shifting. because in the wavelet transform, the scaling and shifting process will be occur simultaneously. Okay, so this kind of sampling eliminates redundancy in coefficients. Okay, because if we are converting analog to digital signal, then if we are obtaining analog to digital signal, so at that time coefficients will not be lost. Okay, coefficients will be complete, so information will be visible there. If coefficients has been some coefficients eliminated, then at that time we cannot do the correct help monitoring analysis. So the output of the transform having same number of coefficient as the length of the input signal, therefore it requires less memory. It is the more it is also the important advantage of the discrete wavelet transform, because if we are doing analysis of the large signal, if we are doing analysis of the large signal, at that time it requires a less memory and the processing time will be more. So at that time we can if processing is fast, okay, then we can analyze the signal in the effective way. So the discrete wavelet transform process is equivalent to comparing the signal with discrete multi-rate filter banks. Now we can see here conceptually how it works. Okay, so see here this red, it is your time domain signal. Okay, it is your time domain signal. Given a signal, the signal is first filtered with special low pass and high pass filters. Okay, low pass filter and high pass filters will be used. In the input side, there is signal and the high pass and low pass filters. So in the high pass, in the output of the high pass filter will be D1, and the output of the low pass filter is A1. D1 means detailed signal and A1 means approximation signal. Okay, so this D1 is the low frequency band detailed. So this is a high frequency band detailed signal, and it is the low frequency band approximation signal. Okay, so actually in my research I had used A1 approximation signal, but I was looking some literature. So at that time I had seen for the PMSM motor, they are using detailed signal. Okay, they are going to differentiate healthy and faulty condition by using a detailed signal. Okay, so some improvements. So it is the first level. Okay, now we can see here from this diagram. Okay, see this diagram. This is first level decomposition by DWT. Okay, this is your signal, and this is your detailed signal, and this is your A1. Okay, so this signal is passing by this high pass filter. Okay, so if you will pass this signal by using this high pass filter, then in the first stage you will get first level detailed signal, and you will get first level approximation signal. Okay, high pass low pass filter. Now you can see here we can further decompose this signal. Okay, so it is the theory, and now you can see here you can see here. Okay, so this is your scale signal, and this one is your D1 A1. Okay, and this is your level 1. Now you see here, now since we have diagnosed from the approximation signal, now you can see here you apply this A1 again. You apply this A1 again from the high pass filter and the low pass filter. Okay, so you will get D2 and A2. Okay, and now you can see in level 2 that scale will be 4. And again you can decompose the signal A3. So it is your high pass filter signal, detail signal D3, and it is your approximation signal. And further you can decompose the signal. Up to here, you will not get the desired result. Okay, you can do up to 5 level, 7 level, 8 level, 9 level. Okay, you can do analysis, but by properly choosing the wavelet, because a lot of wavelets are available. So some use a Haar wavelet, some use Debuchy's wavelet, some use Morley wavelet. Okay, so some more kind of wavelets are also available. But in this particular application, we have used Debuchy's wavelet, because when I was doing research, so at that time what I had seen, the Debuchy's wavelet is the most suitable wavelet for this kind of application. Because at that time I had seen coefficients losing were not happening by using the Debuchy's wavelet. So Debuchy's mother wavelet is also an important feature. So if you are doing analysis by using the wavelet transform, you must use correct mother wavelet, and you need to do research in this side, because you need to apply different wavelet transform, depends upon your application, and you will see on which mother wavelet you are going to the desired result or correct result. You see here, these are the results of time frequency domain analysis wavelet transform. Okay, so now you can see here this red. This red is our time domain signal, what we have sent from there, from the block diagram, and it is a faulty condition. Okay, so now what we have done, we have decomposed this signal. So now you can see here in D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, D7, D8, D9, D10, D11, and after this D11 we have got A11. Okay, so it depends upon the expertization of the researcher. Okay, it depends upon the expertization. If he is going to diagnose the fault by using the detailed signal, and if he is expert, then you can differentiate from the detailed signal also. But we can see here in the D11 and A11, and here we can see the time frequency information. So at that time we can see here it is the approximation signal. This one is your healthy condition approximation signal. Okay, and when we have applied for the 5 rotor broken bar condition, full level decomposition, so we have taken a time domain signal for the 5 rotor broken bar condition, and we have decomposed. So we can see these information will not be given here, but as far as we are decomposing our original signal, at that time we can see in each state we can see what is the condition of signal. Okay, we can evaluate each state of the signal. We can see time frequency information in each state. So diagnose the fault by using the wavelet transform. So it is the full level decomposition technique, and it is the separate decomposition of the motor for healthy and faulty motor. Because here we can see here in the A11, here we can see here only one approximation signal is given here. So one can think why it is the A11. Okay, so here we have done separate decomposition, and in the separate decomposition you can see here in the A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8, A9, A9, up to A9 we can see here, we could not have desired results because everything is looking same. That's why the decomposition by using the wavelet transformer is most important, because here we have used low pass filter and here we have used high pass filter. So we can see here, as far as we are decomposing by using the approximation signal, we have got the two results. One is A10 and one is A11. Okay, so expert can diagnose faults by using the A10 and A11. Okay, because here we can see, here you can see here up to A1 to A9, when we are decomposing by using the low pass filter, by using the approximation signal, by using the Debuchy's wavelet, and we can see up to A9. Okay, no change. But in A10 and A11, that's why I'm saying you decompose your signal, and as far as you could not get your desired results. Okay, so if somebody want to do analysis by using the detailed signal, high frequency band detailed signal, now you can see here in first, second, both are looking same, and third, fourth, both are looking same, and fifth, sixth, both are looking same, and these are three looking same. Okay, but after A10 you can see here, and A11 and A10 and 11 both are little bit looking same. Okay, so if somebody is expert, your operator is expert, then he will see the waveform and will tell, okay, this component has been failed. Okay, so for the 5 rotor broken part, you can see here, this is approximation signal. So this kind of by applying the DWT, we can extract the required information by using the wavelet transform. It is most important. Okay, so our aim was to diagnose the fault in the variable load conditions. So we have chosen here only approximation signal. We have chosen here only approximation signal, and this is a stator current. Now you can see here You can see this is tree decomposition technique. Now you can see the differentiation. Now you can see. Okay, now we can differentiate here. It is very different from the it is very different from the fast Fourier transform. Now we can see here it is a waveform of healthy condition. Okay, and it is the waveform of full load condition. It is a waveform of half load condition, and it is the waveform of no load condition. Now you observe this is starting and last point. This is starting and last point. Now see, this is starting and last point. This is starting and last point. Now we can say, say by using the wavelet transform at what time which frequencies exist. Okay, so we can make histogram, we can make other diagrams also by correctly by differentiating this one. Okay, so the name of okay, the fault in the condition. Okay, so in the transient condition also. So now we can see the differentiation. Okay, so actually, what is happening in the tree? It is you can see in the left side it is tree. It is your original signal, and we have decomposed like this. Okay, so now we can why we have superimposed here both waveforms. Now we can see if we have superimposed both waveforms. So one can see here it is the approximation signal and it is a detailed signal, and here you can see the image also. It is the image analysis. Okay, you can see here for the healthy condition you can see these four images. I have not done analysis this side. Okay, but in the faulty condition you can see this image. Okay, so image was also being changed. So if somebody is the field of electronic communication engineering and he is good in the programming, so by using the programming he may get the signal, and get the signal. After this they can extract this required image. Okay, this required image. So here I have concentrated only broken rotor bar fault, but if somebody wants to do research in so at that for so different faults are there. If you are big air gap eccentricity, there is some gap. So there might be flux linkage will not be there in the effective way. So and you can diagnose static eccentricity, dynamic eccentricity. Okay, if you shift from this original position, that is the dynamic eccentricity. So you can diagnose the eccentricity, the uneven air gap between the stator and the rotor. Okay, so we can diagnose the air gap eccentricity fault also. We can diagnose the bearing fault also. Okay, the bearings fault, inner raceway fault, outer raceway fault, we can diagnose by using these methods. Okay, so a lot of research scope is here by using the wavelet transform technique. So we have seen here by using a low frequency approximation signal, one can be you that diagnose the faults, different faults of the induction motor. Okay, so finally, we have concluded here the signal processing technique may be the better solution for AC motor fault diagnosis purpose in the transient condition. Therefore, may save revenue and unexpected failure in the industry. So thanks for listening me. And if you have any query, if you have any question, then you are invited, or you can note down my email ID also. So if you require to have some help, you can write me siddiqui@srmcm.ac.in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Khadim, for this wonderful presentation. Yeah, Manya, it's over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sparing time from a busy schedule and giving us such an informative session. I would like to thank everyone present here for giving their valuable time, and you may raise your hand and clear your doubts with sir.
And
if there is any question, please raise your hand.
And participants also can write my email ID siddiqui@srmcm.ac.in. So if they do not have question this time, so they can study about the wavelet transform for FFT, because it is something new for the electrical engineering students also in the electronics engineering. And if you are applying these application in your problem, and if you are facing any kind of problem, then definitely you can contact me. And if you have any question this time, then you are invited, please.
Sure, sir. So we'll be posting your email ID in the chat section.
Yes, yes, sure.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you.
May I now request our esteemed Professor, Dr. Kamlesh Kumar Singh, sir, Assistant Professor and Student Branch Counselor, IEEE Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow campus, for the vote of thanks.
Okay, thank you, Manya. Before giving my vote of thanks, I have just posted Google form in the chat box. I will request all the participants to please fill that feedback form, which will be required for their certificates, and it will also help us to improve our presentation and quality through your feedback. So I will request everyone first of all to please fill the feedback form. Okay, today was the last lecture under this technical lecture series, which was organized by IEEE.
गूगल फॉर्म नहीं दिख रहा.
Pardon?
गूगल फॉर्म नहीं दिख रहा, चैट एक्सेस नहीं है हमारा.
Is it visible to all of you or not?
Not visible, sir.
Okay, I will again repost it because some of the students have said that it is visible to them. So I will again repost it after this vote of thanks. You please fill that form. Okay. So this was the fourth and the final lecture under this technical lecture series, which was conducted by IEEE AUP Lucknow campus student branch in collaboration with IEEE Young Professional Committee UP section and IEEE BT KIT student branch Dwarat, under the support of IEEE Region 10 and IEEE Young Professional Region 10. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Khadim for this wonderful talk. It was really an excellent talk, sir. We are really thankful to you for giving.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Motivating our students in this particular area. We are also thankful to Dr. Sumit Soman, who has delivered his first lecture on machine learning method for brain-machine interface system. We also extend our thanks to Professor Dr. Somak Bhattacharya from IIT BHU, who focused on metasurfaces from basics to advanced application. We also deliver our thanks to Dr. Kavind Kanpal from IIIT Allahabad for his interesting lecture on oxide thin film transistors theory and application.
सर चैट ही नहीं दिख रहा हमें.
Mr. Akash, if you can wait.
Yes, sir.
You can wait. Can you wait for some time?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I also thank all the teammates of IEEE AUP Lucknow campus for helping in one way or the other. Ravi, our chair IEEE, Saurabh, Harneet, Manya, to name few, but there is a long list who have helped in organizing this event. And my special thank goes to our Professor Varun Kakkar Saab, Chair IEEE Young Professional UP Section, for giving an opportunity to IEEE AUP Lucknow campus to organize this technical lecture series. Thank you very much, Dr. Varun. I would also like to thank our HOD, Professor Dr. O.P. Singh Saab, who is always there in all the lectures and helping all the students and faculty members, guiding all of us in organizing this event. I also thank to Professor Rafiq for giving inputs, all the faculty members of ASSET, the students from ASSET Lucknow, all the faculty members from the different engineering colleges all over UP and Uttarakhand who have joined this technical lecture series, and the students, the PhD scholars, the master's students who have joined these lectures. I will request Dr. Varun to speak few words if you wish. Dr. Varun, can you hear us?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Welcome, sir, and please conclude this event.
Okay, sir, in the participant list, there is a participant, Professor Kripa Shankar Singh.
Okay.
So if I am not wrong, he might be from IIT Kanpur, and he has also been the Vice Chancellor of the UPTU, APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University.
Sir, Dr. Varun, sir.
Ji, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, actually, Professor Kripa Shankar Singh, sir, is the head of the department of Sri Ram Swarup Group of Professional Colleges.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he is our HOD.
Okay, sir.
So he is motivating us.
So I thought that he's from.
We welcome Professor Kripa Shankar also for being with us. Yes, Dr. Varun, please.
Sir, first of all, we would like to invite Professor Kripa Shankar Singh that how can we motivate or how can we organize these types of events in a better way. So for this, I would like to invite Professor Kripa Shankar Singh to guide us.
Thank you, sir. This type of lecture series is very useful for students as well as research scholars, faculties. This is very enlightening to each of us. So I am thankful you all given this chance to speak some words. This is very nice and very useful for each and every faculties as well as the students also. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now I would like to thank the today's speaker, Dr. Khadim Moin Siddiqui, that he took some time from his busy schedule for this lecture. Actually, we were planning this lecture for a very long time, and we were in continuous touch with Dr. Khadim Moin Siddiqui. And now this lecture has been completed after so much delay. Then I would like to thank Dr. Kamlesh Kumar Singh, who took so much pain to organize this webinar. Actually, जैसे कि मैंने check किया that today's attendance has gone up to 33. So there were total 33 participants in the event. So if in this time of online learning and in this time of online webinars, if we are getting more than 30 participants for a specialized topic, then I think this shows the popularity of the lecture as well as the popularity of the speaker. So I would also like to thank all the participants without which this lecture could not have been completed. In the last, I would like to thank the chair of IEEE UP section, Dr. Satish Kumar Singh, who are continuously motivating us and guiding us to organize this type of event. Also, my sincere thanks goes to IEEE Region 10 and IEEE Young Professionals Region 10 who are supporting this lecture series, technical lecture series as well as professional lecture series. Thank you. That's all from my side. Over to you, Dr. Kamlesh.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Kamlesh, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, our immediate past chairperson, Ashish Kumar Singh, sir, also have joined. So we also can invite to Honorable Ashish Kumar Singh, sir, for the feedback, because I can see.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, I would like to invite the immediate past chair from IEEE UP section, Professor Ashish Kumar Singh from MNIT Allahabad to guide us and to motivate us. Professor Ashish Kumar Singh, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kakar and Dr. Khadim. Thank you very much. Actually, this was an opportunity which I got late at this student branch and the joint effort of our IEEE Uttar Pradesh section young professional team. They are doing it. I was aware that they are doing, but unfortunately, it was my fault that I could get an opportunity to come and join this today. Yes, this was a very good initiative, and I appreciate the efforts of that particular organizing team and young volunteers. And I motivate them to, yes, your efforts are excellent, and you shall keep on doing these things in the future also. And definitely, this is going to give us a good opportunity to identify some very good speakers from our section. We know that wisdom is everywhere, and it is our efforts by which we can pick them and use it for our benefit. So definitely the platform is very good. Organizing team is excellent. I appreciate. And definitely the leadership of the branch counselors and other team members, especially Dr. Kakar, they are excellent. And I appreciate Dr. Singh also, who is the leading this organizing team for this event. And my young colleagues who are going to be the future of tomorrow. So I appreciate them all. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity which I got today to and learn a lot from the speech of Dr. Khadim. Definitely, I will be in touch with Dr. Khadim for some future knowledge and learning from your side. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Yes, sir. It will be honor for me, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I would also like to inform all the participants that under the able guidance and mentorship of Dr. Ashish Kumar Singh, the immediate past chair of IEEE UP section has progressed a lot, and several new initiatives have been launched in the last 2 years by IEEE UP section. I once again thank Professor Ashish Kumar Singh, sir, that he was with us for this particular event. Thank you, sir. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you,
over to you, Dr. Kamlesh.
Okay, I would also like to thank Dr. Ashish sir for his blessings, especially from IEEE AUP Lucknow campus student branch and the Young Professional Committee UP section, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. Now, I will request thank you, sir. Now I will request all the audience to please switch on their camera to have a memorable photograph so that we can have it. Yeah.
Sir, please wait, just I'm going to connect from the mobile phone.
Okay, I will request all the participants to please switch on their camera. Dr. Varun, can you have the large gallery option at your end? It is not reflecting right now. Sir, you are muted. Sir, you are muted. Please
unmute. It is disabled at my end.
Okay, sir. Okay. I will request Ravi and Manya to take few photographs.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Thank you very much, one and all present over here. Thank you very much for joining today. We will again meet very soon with another lecture series. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
I'm just reposting in the chat box. Those who wish, those who are not able to access, please open it and paste. Yes, please fill the form.
Sir, chat is not accessible to us. It only accessible to Amity College's domain.
Okay, if you can share your email, beta, we can forward it to you.
Yes, sir. But how can I share?
Ravi, our chair, will contact you. Okay, Akash. Ravi, please contact with those who are not able to access it.
Yes, sir. Akash Kumar.
Yeah, I'm just stopping this recording.